So good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to host IEMSC Chapter's first event in the year 2023 with such a great panel of speakers. Just to introduce myself, I am Devan Ram, the acting president of IEMSC Chapter's 2023 committee. I'm also currently completing my final year as a mechanical engineering degree student. And part of our goals this year is to provide students with a platform to socialize, connect, and build relationships. But also, we as the steering committee for the Institute of Engineers Malaysia want to ensure that our goal aligns with IEMS. And IEM is a society established to promote and advance the science and profession of engineering in any or all of its disciplines, and also to facilitate the exchange of information and ideas related to engineering. As students and future engineers, these are the decisive years. I'm sure you are all accustomed to hearing the phrase, the path of least resistance, especially the electrical engineers here. It's used to explain many complex concepts in engineering. For example, the path an electrical charge would take in an electrical circuit. And electrical circuits may have a whole bunch of resistors which make it hard for the current to flow through them. In our attempts to build a successful and fulfilling career, the path we take as students will have its own resistors. If we choose a path that is unnecessarily challenging and time-consuming, like in the electrical circuit analogy, we end up wasting a lot of precious energy, and that energy could have gone into learning important skills, which would have allowed us to enter the career of our dreams. The energy is now wasted on something completely unrelated. Because it's not to say that venturing outside of your desired field is always a waste of time. However, if only we could take a path of least resistance and increase the probability of our success when trying to find a job that is right for us, one that meets our goals, and one where we'll grow and advance our skills to thrive as engineering graduates in Malaysia. Of course, with any problem, and as students, inexperienced to the ins and outs of the corporate world, the hiring process, and all the various trends and statistics we're bound to, the path of least resistance is more complicated than a simple engineering problem, because there's so many factors at play. A recent study by the Institute of Engineers Malaysia showed how 25 to 30% of fresh graduates find it tough to secure a job. Studies also show how employers are dissatisfied by the level of understanding of basic engineering concepts among local graduates. Eventually, very soon, we engineering students will be heading out into the industrial world and could potentially be facing those very same problems. This is why I'm glad to be speaking with our esteemed guest today, who will be guiding us on the path to least resistance so that we may thrive as engineering graduates in Malaysia. So let me introduce our first speaker, representing the Institute of Engineers Malaysia. We have Engineer LiQWYD, who is currently the head of engineering of SR Aviation Sdn Berhad, which is an aircraft engineering services company. And he is a registered professional engineer with the Board of Engineers Malaysia having 34 years of experience in the aircraft engineering industry. He is a fellow of ASEAN Academy of Engineering and Technology and is part of the Malaysian Society for Engineering and Technology. He holds an aircraft maintenance engineer license at the Civil Aviation Authority, United Kingdom and Malaysia. He's worked as an aircraft engineer with Malaysia Airlines, Airva Airways Corporation, and the KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. He holds an MBA from Victoria University, Australia, and was involved in several projects related to flight technology, including aircraft test flight and acceptance, fairing missions, airworthiness review, and maintenance certifications, among others. He is listed as a national industry expert under the Ministry of Human Resources Malaysia. Without further ado, I'd like to call upon Engineer LiQWYD to deliver his speech.
Thank you, Mr. Dhiren. Thank you for the invitation. Let me just start my slides again just to make sure that you can see the slides. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. I'm given about 30 minutes. And first of all, I would like to thank the IEM would like to thank the student section of UOW for the invitation of this, I would say, a sharing session with the participants of today's webinar. Now, the topic today is actually, the theme today is actually very interesting. It is actually how to thrive as an engineering graduate in Malaysia. And what I'll do is that I'll introduce a little bit of myself, my background. And then after that, I'll go into some of the experiences, because I do recruitment, I do entrance examination, I do interview, I select the candidates, I train the candidates, and sometimes I drop the candidates. Whether the person is suitable or not suitable. After a certain time in the company, 3 months, 6 months, then we are able to gauge whether this person is suitable to be in our company or not, in the field of profession that we are doing, especially in engineering. Okay, I'm representing IEM today, and IEM Institution of Engineers has been there since 1959. I'm not going to go very much detail to explain to you about IEM, because my focus to you is to do a little bit of introduction of IEM, and then after that, I'm going to go into the core contents, the core contents that we're going to discuss today. Now, you are students of UOW, and all of you are engineering students here. I would strongly encourage all the students here to quickly go connected, get yourself registered, be a member, as a student member, and it is very reasonable. My daughter is also in the 4th year now. She's doing civil engineering in Japan. And on the first year, when she registered with enter the university, the first thing I asked her to do is quickly register herself into the IEM. Now, why am I asking her to quickly register herself into IEM? Because IEM is the place where you have a network of pool of engineers. IEM has a very, very strong pool of engineers, engineering technologies, and a little bit of engineering technician at the moment, where you can tap into their expertise, where you can consult them, when you can find people to mentor you, especially when you in the future, you want to be a professional engineer. Your networking and access to the people of the industry, it is all pooled in IEM. It is all pooled in IEM. So IEM becomes a springboard, becomes a springboard for a very cheap nominal fee of a student member, 40 ringgit. And you can actually access all the facilities, get access to the people. And these are the things that you will require as you graduate, or before you graduate, and as you move into the society. That is very important. I strongly benefited it. My daughter, even though she's in Japan, sometimes she go online, and listen to talks and webinars, and use their resources in order to help her to actually build a career. And guess what? She already found a job in Japan already, in one of the consultant company. So to me, engineering work is full of fun. It is a lot of thrilling, it's thrilling. And at times, you will never thought that you are so important. I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant or snobbish, but engineers, if you sit down and think about it, you are in a profession that can make changes to the world. You can make changes to the people, the comfort level of the people living in this world. And even engineers are the main key people who can explore new resources. Very adventurous. Their mind of thinking are taught, they're trained to actually solve a lot of problems. Okay, But there's one thing that you have to actually understand first. One is actually you have to understand the difference between the IEM and the Board of Engineers. A lot of people, when we go out and we do promotional talk, we do a sharing session, even people who are working in the engineering field, they actually get confused. They thought IEM is BEM and they thought BEM is IEM. No, IEM is a learned society. It is registered under the Society of X. So actually, it is more of a professional people who are, students. They are all gathered together in a society, in a learned society. Whereas the Board of Engineers is a regulator. They actually govern the act, the code of ethics. They are doing the governance. They are actually representing the government. It's two different body. So when you graduate in the future and you want to practice engineering, regardless whether you are practicing electrical engineering, electronics, mechanical, chemical, doesn't matter. If you want to practice engineering legally, the first thing you have to do after your graduation, quickly go and register yourself as a graduate engineer under the BM. This will allow you to work in the engineering profession legally. Yeah, you want to be a legal engineer. You do not want to work as a illegal engineers. Okay, this is the first thing that you need to do. Of course, once you're registered with the Board of Engineers in the future, you have a pathway for you to be a professional engineer. And of course, IEM is there to support you to become a professional engineer in many, many ways. Yeah, many, many ways. Okay, I won't go into very much detail into all this because, like I said, my focus today is talking about the career, how to advance or raise your career prospect in the after you have graduate, yeah, for graduate engineers. Okay, currently IEM we have about 50,000 members. Yeah, welcome for all of you to join us. And then if you have graduated in the future, convert your student membership to become a graduate member. Yeah. And we also have a new grade. Yeah, some of you may have heard of it. We have engineering technologies grade in line with the Engineers Act in Malaysia. We also have the engineering technician grade. Yeah. Affiliation. Yeah. For some of you, yeah, you might consider working in foreign countries. Yeah. Malaysia is a good place. Malaysia is a great place. But some of you might want to venture into future ASEAN countries, Singapore, Thailand. Thailand is coming up. Vietnam, all these you need a certain platform for you to access into the countries. So IEM has this platform because IEM is currently affiliated with the ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organization. We are also the secretary of the engineering register. We are also in part of the engineers mobility program under the Asia Pacific Engineering Council. So with IEM, through IEM, you are able to actually mobilize yourself not only to develop your career in Malaysia, but also your career in other countries. A lot of people actually move to other countries to expand provide their engineering services. Yeah, Singapore is one of them. Professional development definitely is there. It will assist you to become professionalize yourself. Yeah. Now, one of the very important thing is to assist graduate engineers. You see, graduate engineers when they graduated, after they have graduated and they go into the industry, sometimes they make mistakes. Sometimes they do not know how to start building up their professional career. Sometimes they get lost. Sometimes their friends are progressing so fast, whereas they've realized that how come they themselves are not able to progress into the next level? Because once you're a graduate engineer, you practice in the industry, then your next thing, your target should be to be a certified professional engineer. A lot of people didn't actually miss that part, So IEM is there to actually assist you so that you can actually thrive in the engineering profession or in the engineering world or in the industry that you're working in. It can be in the automotive industry, it can be the healthcare industry, it can be even in the agriculture industry where the engineers are needed. Your knowledge, your skills are needed to actually come up with solutions, yeah, to solve, problems, yeah, to solve problems in the industry. We also have the engineering competency development program that students can actually log into. Now, why is this important? Yeah, why is this ECD program in IEM is important for you to thrive in your career? Sometimes you will work in a company. You may work in a company where they do not have professional engineers to guide you. You do not have a professional engineers to supervise you after you have graduated. And this is where the IEM Engineering Competency Development Program comes in, where there will be mentors to guide you how to become a professional engineer. He will check through your documents. He will assist you to check through your projects. He will tell you what needs to be amended, where are the calculations that is required to be, more detailed. All this is through the mentor under the ECD of IEM, yeah? Okay. I won't go into this one, but probably let me check a little bit on this one. Apart from the apart from the benefits that I mentioned just now, IEM conduct courses, training. Yeah, we have a lot of visits here. Like tomorrow, we are visiting the Pusat Latihan Police. Yeah, in the Jalan Geni in Jalan Semarak. Yeah, through IEM, you will realize that sometimes it's very hard to get access into all this kind of police level kind of training facility. But if you are IEM member, you can actually join us in the group and then see how the training are done. All these are the benefits that you can get as a member of IEM. Okay, I won't go deep into this, but let me go into the other areas. Okay, now the main thing here, graduate engineers. Okay, now I heard from Dhiren just now, you are in the 4th year. Maybe some of you are in the 1st year, in the 2nd year. You are on the verge of graduating already. You are in the 4th year. Yeah. But I have a question to all of you here. What motivates you to study engineering? What motivates you to take up engineering course? Have you all thought about it? Because your motivation of taking up engineering, you have to have the correct motivation. Some people, like some of the graduates that apply to come into our company, fail to get into our company because when they studied engineering program last time, they study because the parents asked them to study. They study because they think they have no other choice. They just follow his schoolmate and study engineering course. So with you having this kind of mindset or mentality, your motivation is not strong enough. Now, if you want to study engineering, you must love engineering first. You must be a person who like to see or solve, technical problems. If you see a person who would like to travel from point A and point B, when you look at that from the engineering perspective, you will think like, how am I going to design a vehicle that travels from point A to point B at the lowest energy usage and it is sustainable and comfortable? You will think into this perspective if your motivation is correct. But if your motivation is incorrect, you think, I have to travel to point A to point B, just buy a car or buy a bicycle. That is not an engineer's level of thinking. And engineers will look into the problem. I want to solve this problem for this uncle by coming up with a good design so that he can actually travel from point A to point B, comfortably. Now, this is the right motivation for the engineers. You are very technical, you are passionate about solving problems, you would like to use your mathematical skills, your understandings of physics principle, and apply it to solve the people's problem. This is exactly what we need. Because if you don't have this right motivation, when you come into certain companies for entrance exam, when they give you a basic entrance examination paper, when they test you about basic thermodynamics, basic mechanics, you will fail the paper. So it's important that first you start changing. If for whatever reason that your motivation that you have done, that you have to come into the course 4 years ago, you need to actually start to tune it and change it to have the right motivation. Yeah, the motivation of love technical engineering work. You actually love to solve complex problems for the benefit of mankind. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you look at this picture, can anyone guess what picture is this? Dhiren, can they unmute their mic or not?
No, actually, I sort of blocked that feature. But yeah, you can type it on the chat box.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Actually, yeah.
yes.
It looks sort of like a rocket launch, if I were to guess.
It is a mission control center back in the 1960s and the 70s. This is actually a mission control center. Now, this mission control center, it is actually in Houston, in Houston, Texas. And all these people here that you see here, 90% of them, they are the engineers. The 90% of the Houston space program, the Apollo space program, the Gemini space program, even the current Artemis space program, 90% of the people inside, they are all engineers. Now, we are having a problem in this world now, right? What problem are we facing? We are facing the lacking or the depletion of the resources, energy resources. The world fuel is getting less. You are trying to find waters to generate turbine power to generate electrical power, and the water is getting less and less. But the people in this world are growing more and more and more and more. So as engineers, we have to help to solve this problem. And NASA select and recruit people who comes from the engineering background, 90% of them. They get these engineers in, they tell them what are the problems that we're facing, and the engineers come up with a solution. Less, because the world has depleted so much the resources, they have to go somewhere else. And the engineers come out and design. Doesn't matter whether you're a mechanical engineer, whether you're biomedical, whether you're electrical engineer, you're electronics engineer, does not matter. You will be part of the program to help to solve this problem. You design a rocket, you design, a moon rover, you design a spacecraft that is going to land on the moon. Why? Some people say, why do we need to land on the moon? They spend so much of money. But do you know that after they have landed in the moon, they have discovered helium-3? Helium-3 in certain areas of the moon, and there is abundance of them. And this helium-3 is the next energy resources that is not radioactive. Better than the fuel, and it can power the whole earth, for the next up to 10,000 years easily. So this is where the engineers are so important, because when they look at things, they also come up with designs, they also come up with the solutions, they also make sure the problems are solved. So this is, to me, the pride, the importance of an engineer. That is why the board of engineers need to make sure that how many engineers do we have in Malaysia? Because the less the engineers we have in Malaysia, the weaker is the country. A strong country, you look at China, you look at the US, you look at the Japan. These are the countries that have a strong group of engineers supporting the whole nation. So without the engineers, the nation actually can collapse on. That is how I look at engineers, you know. So this is also another problem. Now you will see, if you have read the follow through some of the incidents that happened in the history of mankind, in the history of space travel, there are many cases, but I'm going to use this case, which actually happened in 1970, where the engineers who built the space machine flew up to space, and for some reason, the oxygen tank exploded and crippled the spacecraft. Now you're talking about hundreds and thousands of way the spaceship is out there, crippled. Now you have 3 astronauts inside and you're on the way to the moon. How are you going to solve this problem? You cannot touch the spacecraft. You cannot touch the command module, the space module. How are you going to solve this problem and bring these engineers back? If you have followed through this incident, you realize how genius and how important the engineers, when they use knowledge and apply it, and even though they cannot touch the spacecraft, they brought back the command module, and they brought back the 3 astronauts safely, all from this control room inside here, not even touching the airplane. Amazing, yeah. Engineers can really do wonders, yeah. Engineers can really do wonders. Okay, now there will be 6 major sectors in the future. You choose your sectors that you are interested in, but please make sure your fundamentals in engineering, whether it is a thermodynamics, whether it's a mathematical calculations, whether it is a principle of physics, you need to master your fundamental first. So those of you who are studying, don't waste your time in UOW. You only have 4 years. You only have 4 years, and you actually need to maximize as much as possible knowledge, as much as possible the lab experience, as much as possible your internship, to make sure that when you leave at the end of the 4 years, you are ready to actually go into the entrance exam, sit for the entrance exam, pass the entrance exam, and start going into the industry and build your career and solve the problems. It's a lot of fun, you know. I've been working in the engineering field for the last 34 years. I really enjoy it. Yeah, sometimes to an extent that you feel that while you're going through all these solutions, you know, design and development and all those, sometimes you really feel that, wow, I actually don't believe that I'm paid actually to work on this one, because it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of mind-boggling things. It is a lot of test and see how capable you are. So these are the 6 sectors that you can actually plan yourself and develop yourself into the future to make sure that you grab the opportunity and fully utilize the opportunity, and then use your skills and build yourself up. Yesterday there was a high-level presentation of an airplane. Yeah, one of the latest airplane. I was being invited to actually support the sales team. Yeah, you see, this is the problem. The sales team, they can sell the airplane, they will market the airplane and all those. But when it comes to technicality, yeah, when it comes to technicality, they have to come back and fall back to the engineers. And they invited me to go and actually did a presentation to them, even though I'm not a salesman. But then, because I'm able to understand and explain the communication skill and explain the systems to the prospects, and they were very happy and wanted to, to continue on to discuss about the new airplanes. Yeah. So these are the areas that you as an engineers, you need to develop yourself very much. Yeah. So healthcare is one of the sectors. Transportation is one of the sectors. Agricultural. And remember, teaching is also very important for you. Engineers need to learn to pass on the knowledge either from the industry perspective or in the academic. Some engineers, they, after some experience in the field, they would like to, work in the teaching environment. So you can be a lecturer. Or some go into banking because some of the formulas that actually we use, some of the formula that we use when we study engineering actually is applicable to the banking industry and the finance industry, where you can use your mathematical skills to actually do investment in analysis, do financial analysis. Surprising, yeah. I have quite a few of friends, engineers, who are actually in the finance industry, and they are doing very well. Yeah, they are doing very well. And of course, marketing, especially technical items, we are there. We are always there to be able to support the sales team. What the engineers can do, sometimes the technical sales team cannot. The sales team cannot do, and that is where you will have the opportunity in the future. Yeah. Now, what is the most demanding profession based on the job street currently? Yeah, we have manufacturing, we have computer IT. All of you know about it. Retail and trading, yeah, that is definitely is a must because there's a lot of transaction between organizations and even nations. Banking and finance definitely must there, yeah, and also the electrical and electronic industry. These are the currently the top hirings areas where people are being recruited. Yeah, so keep an eye on all these areas. And but if your field of interest is not listed here, doesn't mean that you do not have any opportunity. You will still have a lot of opportunity because of our 12 Malaysia plan. We are trying to develop the country to the next level. We are trying to transform the whole nation where the engineers are required. Engineers, engineering technologies, and also the engineering technician. All of you are actually required. Yeah. Now, if you look at this, this is also just hang on. This is also part of the areas that you can see in the manufacturing, very demanding, especially with the industrial 4.0. Engineers are actually in quite a few areas: automation engineers, service engineers, process engineers. Some of the strategies are also require engineering background, and also a lot of the specialists requires engineering background as well, especially supporting the digitalization and also the automation. Engineers are required. So to me, those of you who studies engineering, actually you have a very, very bright future. The only problem is when you go for your entrance examination, because you did not actually pay a lot of attention during your classes, sometimes you fail the class, you fail the entrance exam. That is where the problem is. Yeah. In construction industry, it is always there. Yeah. Those who do mechanical and electrical, remember, mechanical, electrical, you are also part of the construction industry. Electrician, electrical engineers, project managers, civil engineers, equipment designers, equipment operators usually are more for the technicians, but equipment designers, you have a very, very important role to play yourself in the future. In some of the areas, we are shortage of engineers, like in the aerospace industry, we have a shortages of engineers as well. Yeah. Now, what is the expectation of the talent, people like you and me? Yeah. Number one, if you were to go into the company, look at areas that there is a learning opportunity and continuous development opportunity. You always look at this area because you are still young, you are fresh, you don't have the skill. You don't have the model to actually demand things. But what is important to you in the company is a place where you can learn and develop yourself. That is very important. Understand yourself. What are the skills that you have, and how are you going to match your skills? For example, you are good in analytics. Use your analytical skills for the benefit of your company. At the same time, apply for your apply for your apply into your job. Of course, if you were to continue to develop yourself, improve your interview skills, interview process, that means that is actually communication skills. Improve your communication skills. And the fourth one, actually, do not hesitate to be openly accepting, hearing people's feedback, and especially critics. Yeah, when you are scolded, when you are criticized, when people are not happy with you, you have to learn to take it up very, very positively. These are basically the areas that, to me, in our industry here, I see people, if they are good at all these four elements, they actually will grow very fast, very fast. Yeah. So that is actually 30 minutes. That is actually my last slide of presentation. I hope during this short presentation here, because there are other presentations coming in afterwards, and I hope this short presentation here will give you an insight. Yeah, what are the things that you need to do, how to change your motivation, and then how to identify an organization, what are the mindset that you have, so that you can actually grow yourself into the future. Thank you very much, Dhiren, for inviting us. And these are the resources that you can actually find your information that you want to. Okay. Thank you so much, Dhiren.
Thank you, Aaron. Sorry. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. KDU, for the insightful presentation on IEM's goals and also the trends that you've seen in Malaysia with regard to employment. I'm sure the comments you made from your vast experience, 34 years in the field of engineering, have enlightened a lot of us. I just want to ask you a question. I think this relates somewhat to what you've talked about. As engineers, we are put in charge of solving very complex problems on a regular basis. What is your philosophy towards problem solving? And how can we as future engineers maintain this sort of ability to remain creative and innovative at solving seemingly unsolvable problems? Because recently, as a student, I've been given several assignments where we've had to solve major world issues like the plastic waste, for example. So how do we maintain this ability to remain creative and innovative?
Okay, I think it's very important as engineers, when problems are passed to you, are handed to you, you have to learn to take ownership of the problem. You take ownership of the problem. Now that problem becomes your problem, and that problem, you will, because of the mindset that you have, you'll be committed to actually go and dive deep into this problem. Now, because if you have taken the ownership, right, mentally you are tuned to it, and you will not feel tired, because you look at it's not others people's problem. It is my problem now. Now, when you have this kind of mindset, you will be committed. You will do, to me, you won't feel tired, because every step of the way you will just keep on gathering information, and during the process, it actually enlightens you more and more and more, and you have more and more ideas. You will take the initiative to look for people. You will take initiative to actually find the resources. You will take the initiative to actually discuss with people and see how they did it. And eventually you come up with your own solution and you solve the problem. And if you cannot solve the problem, you don't give up. You continue to actually look for solutions. That, to me, the ownership of it. You see, nowadays people scared to take up problems. They don't want to be responsible. Even though they are engineers, they just don't want to be responsible. And these are the people, to me, that they cannot grow and they cannot be innovative, because they look at it, that is his problem. It's not my problem. So everything will push back to the other people, and therefore you cannot find any strength to actually overcome this, come up with the solutions. Thank you, Dhiren.
Thank you. That's actually a very good answer. I never thought about it that way. So thank you once again, Ricky Liu, for that amazing presentation. Now moving on to our next speaker. We have with us today a KDU alumnus. His name is Mr. Aaron Victor, and KDU is where he obtained his diploma in telecommunication and computer engineering. He continued his education to pursue a Master of Science degree in electrical engineering at the Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, USA. He's worked as a technical recruiter for the company Volt Technical Resource in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's worked in several companies, playing an important role in talent acquisition and recruitment. He moved on to human resources in 2018, where he served as a HR manager for Westport in Malaysia. And he's currently the HR manager for the Valmont Corporation. If you want to know anything about the hiring process, he's the man to ask. I'd like to call upon Mr. Aaron Victor to deliver his speech on the path he's taken after graduating from KDU and some of the things he's learned since then.
All right, thanks, Dylan, for the introduction. I'm very grateful for IEM to have me today. Good sharing from Ricky. Can relate to some of it. I want to thank my Dean of Engineering, Mr. Dr. Siwajoti. It was not for him, I don't think I would be sitting here. All right, so let me just run through shortly on my experience. I studied engineering and made a shift into HR. So, like Ricky mentioned, engineering does not just apply for engineering. I think for us engineers, if we don't have a problem, we will have a problem lah. Huh? Yes, I hope that is it. All right. So, engineering, I actually use engineering to find the best talent for IT and engineering companies in manufacturing and logistics. It's not easy to find people. I think you talk to any HR guy, it's like, oh my God, it's headache to find developers, technicians. It's quite. So, how did I get from engineering to HR? Well, when I was studying engineering, especially KDU, I remember I used to go and study, and then when I had a free time, actually, right in front of KDU, there was a burger stall. I used to go and fry some burgers. And I started to learn other things outside from engineering. In fact, KDU, we learned how to do event management. We organized a few concerts. So that exposed you to, marketing, social media. And I started all that. And when I went to US, of course, our parents could only afford so much. We had to work out there. And that's where we also picked up other skills. And when I was in US, I managed to get an opportunity recruiting students like yourself from KDU going to US. And so eventually, we did it as a favor to the university and then ended up becoming a part-time job. And eventually they offered me the job, So while studying, my master's was partially sponsored by the university and still doing engineering. Along the way, I realized, okay, I may not be good at talking to the test instruments or looking at the circuits. Maybe I like people more. So that's when, right after when I was reaching towards the end of my master's, that's when the economy situation was very bad. So I couldn't get an engineering job, and I was in the US, and somehow this other job became my job. So I made a shift to it. It's not like I chose to be in HR. It's just that at that time opportunities were not available, and I managed to then jump into HR where I was put into recruitment. So in HR also, when I was finding for talent like yourself, it's not easy, but I was able to apply engineering solutions. And even now in HR also, when I deal with people in with their issues and all that, I can apply some of the principles, the thought process, where you take a problem and then put a probability X plus Y equals Z. I'm telling you, engineers, we can survive and we can do anything. Right, so that's a little bit about me, and I think what all are going to face, especially like Dylan, you're approaching the end of your education cycle. I think the first thing everybody asks me, I mean, even people who have graduated, working, how to write a CV? Oh my God! So I hope later in the slides to come, I will explain a bit more detail on that. The challenge that you will have is that, hey, technical knowledge, you don't have any actually. Basically, you are in KDU. So you might want to take your internships, even your project, your final year end projects or anything assigned by the university a little bit more seriously. And I can tell you how you're going to craft it out to highlight that experience. Now, when you don't have work experience, or you may lack a technical knowledge, that is pose a challenge, because you will it's very hard to find suitable jobs, right? Now, for those, I know UOW has a good international student. I understand, because when I worked in US and when I graduated, I would go for interview after interview, and the last question I always fail. They say, "Hey, sir, what's your visa status?" I say, "No, I'm Malaysian." And they're like, "Oh, okay, sorry, we don't offer visa." Oh my God, tiao lah. So I said, but he never gave me up. But because I had other skills and all, somehow I managed to stay there for 3 years. But it's a challenge. So these are challenges that you will face when you graduate. Yeah. Okay. Before we go any further, I think we need to understand how to write a CV. So just a quick one. As you can see here on the left, yes, pretty girl, looks very nice. But unfortunately, this is not what you should be doing. Looks fantastic, but unless if you're a graphic media, social media kind of guy, I think this CV works very well. I suggest the one here. It looks very simple, but you know what? Simple is good. There's a reason why I say to do this, because when you upload your CV into a job site, right? They kind of ask you to put in your details. Okay, what is your work experience? What is your skill? You have to retype it. But if you put in this format, the whatever system you're applying for automatically captures the information, so it's easier. So try not to put all these funny formats and all that. So what do you need in the CV? I think everybody asks me that. So when you start your CV, the first line that they will see is that you might want to tell what you can do. Why would a person want to hire you? But don't write a big story. This is not Harry Potter, Hogwarts. Just one simple paragraph should be fine. Then the next one, because you are a fresh graduate, then you need to look at your education. Now, I mean, I look at CV. Yeah, they put the university and all this degree, this program. But the main thing we always look at is CGPA lah. Unfortunately, we want to know exactly what were you doing, you know. And believe me, I even had an opportunity to review one CV with the chairman of the company, and he said, "Hey, what's this guy? Why did he get a SPMD and all that? It's crazy. Even a senior person can ask that question. So try to put in if you have SPM, how many A's, how many B's, it's okay. Because later on, when you go interview, they're going to ask you the same thing to see your transcript. Everything might as well just be upfront and honest about it. All right. And then if you are still studying, some of you might be on your third year or second year, just put in the details there when you're graduating, estimated graduate time. If possible, because you don't have work, if you can just highlight what are the courses, I said for electric motor class, DC voltage, electromechanicals, you just put it there. You put a nice table and all that, so that people actually know these are the things that your university is covering. Yeah. Now, maybe some of you are lucky, very ambitious. Maybe you are working and studying. I know sometimes people say, Aaron, I'm an engineer. I go put Grab, then the first thing I wanted to go work for Grab. It's okay, nothing wrong. But maybe you can say, while working in Grab, you found out some issues with the application, or you make some recommendation to improve it. So yeah, and of course, internship. Everyone, when I read, go for internship, but I don't understand what they did. So you have to ask the question in the interview. Hey, what do you actually did there? So try to put what you did, and especially what results you have in that CV. Yeah. Another thing is people take it lightly, because whenever I see all fresh graduate, they don't write a lot of things in the CV. So try to write about, okay, I created one of my final year project was to build a power supply unit. That's what we did in KDU back in the day, and then we said, okay, we diagnosed the thing, we look at what were the improvements we made to the circuit design. So put in that. And if you also have any like industrial projects, just put what are the problems you are trying to solve in that industrial project with any of the companies. So that is something that you can write in detail also. Then going finally, we want to know, what type of computer skill, especially Excel, what can you do? How can you do some formulas? Can you do some dashboard, and then work with the data? If you use certain tools, like if you're a mechanical engineer, have you used welding? Have you, used work with pumps, or work with burners? You need to be very detailed on all these things. Maybe you don't do it much in school, but if you had a chance, maybe you have a hobby of working in a garage, or maybe you're helping out a family member. So if you have something like that, a skill, I think you list it down. And also any tools, if you use some of the mechanical civil guys use AutoCAD, so you need to put in those things there. Lastly, you can list down sports or like for example, Dhiren here, he's the president of the student chapter. Is good. So like Dhiren needs to put in, what? Okay, I manage an organization of this much of members. What type of budget you guys were doing, and running programs like this. Allowing students to get employed. So put that very clearly on what result. Because the main thing when we read a resume is like, okay, what type of result you as a person is going to bring into the company, what kind of value you're going to drive to the company. Okay, so this is a little bit more of this on the CV side. Why CV is important? Because CV is like a ticket to a concert, right? You want to go to a concert, you have to buy a ticket. You want to go to KLCC Aquaria, you have to buy a ticket. So the first thing is you really need to focus on your resume. Don't use the same resume for 20 different companies, because you have to understand each company have a different thing. You need to read the job description and you need to do the company. So later I will share why that's important. All right, so I think a lot of time people ask me what is the hiring process, but I think I want to zoom in more on this review. So hiring process, just a general. Basically, we put out a position there. You guys apply, then we review it. As you can hear, here's a more detail on the review process. Then we shortlist you. Then you come in, interview, you do some assessment, and then finally we hire you and bring you into the company. But why I want to go into review, because review is a very important. You need to understand how people like myself and my colleagues would look at your profile, right? So when you come in there, first and foremost, we look at your resume and then see the what is the job, what's the requirements. And when we see the requirement, you must actually complete your degree, but you're still studying, so that's already something that you won't be considered for. Or maybe you don't have must have experience with PowerPoint, but you don't have it. So again, read the requirement and apply, because most of the time when we reject people, because they don't meet what we have written there, right? And then we also look at your CV and see, okay, what type of task this guy does and how is he going to do the task in the JD. I mean, usually job descriptions for fresh graduate is not much. So we want to see how you can maybe write reports, how do you do analysis, how do you do engineering design, how would you troubleshoot equipment, yeah. We all, that's why I said the computer skill is important. You can't go around and say I don't know PowerPoint, especially Excel. These are two things you will need. And we actually, a lot of times I know a lot of you, they would, when they invite you for interview, they ask you to do written assessment. But just to let you know, we actually, when we read your CV, we know how is your writing capability. It's not during the interview. Even before you come interview, we read your CV, we know how this guy's English is working, how they structure, and then we also see how your thought process, how you organize your information, how you put your experience. All this is a indication of whether this person is a worth person to call for an interview. Yeah. And then we look, if you put in the more details you put in, especially with your projects, then we look at the project. This guy's project is something that we can consider, because we are also doing this. Maybe he did a small portion of it, but we are doing the bigger part. Maybe we can bring him, and then we can groom him, guide him. So that's why it's important to list down your assignments and projects. Another thing we do, which we try not, because we want to call him for an interview, and then we check like, okay, the guy is staying in Penang, but the job is in KL. So we need to be mindful when we contact you. So I think this is a part of the review process. Just to let you know, in a day, if you're lucky, you can go up to 200, 300 applications. So imagine we have to read, you got only like a minute to read that. So I hope you understand why, because if you don't put your CV properly, in that 1 second, you get rejected very fast. I mean, not me, but I mean, maybe my peers, they may not have the time and luxury to go through all that. Because in a day, we get a lot of application, especially for fresh graduate. Is just once you put the position there, in a day, you get easily 200, and you have to read and read again. Yeah, so do uh, it will help if you can work on this. And this is a ticket. I mean, if you get your resume right, it's a ticket to interview. And then I'm sure there's a lot of resources there. I hope in the next session I maybe can share more. So I think a lot of people ask me, hey, I got a 4.0 GPA, but I'm not getting interviews. I'm not getting a job. So is it really important that I have the grades and I have a degree? Even some do like, hey, why no degree? People without degree are getting jobs. Well, if for an engineer, it is important that you have your degree, yeah. And secondly, is grade important? Yes, it's important. It kind of like gets you up in front the panel review. But the problem is when you start interviewing and we ask you a question, okay, how does a three-phase motor work? And you cannot explain. I mean, we don't expect you to go very technical, but if you can't explain the process and all that, then it might be that you did not learn much. Yeah, you did a good grades, but you cannot apply your knowledge. Yeah, so I think, and also you say I did this project, I built a power supply unit. Then we say, okay, how did you build this power supply unit? What is the maximum capacity, or how much we load we can put in there so it doesn't blow up, the capacitors blow up. So these kind of things that is good. You have good grades, fantastic, good for you. You work very hard, you study very hard. But the main thing is when it comes to the job, right? How do you take that knowledge and applied it to the day-to-day work? If you don't know your basics, like the basics fundamentals of electronics, electrical or mechanical, how are you going to apply it to your job? So again, yes, it's important. Grades and academic performance is important, but more importantly is not forget them after you leave university, because then you will have issues at work, and you may not even last your first job, maybe even your last job in engineering. So we have a lot of time. I've seen some people where they leave engineering because they're good grades, they're fantastic guys, but when it came to work, they have to change because they cannot remember what they learned. So yes. All right, so next one is with all this, a lot of challenges. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's a lot of challenges. So what would I advise for you guys to get a more better opportunity? First and foremost, I think I've heard, it's very interesting that you have an organization like IEM. When I was studying, I got involved in IEEE. So, and if possible, if you can, go and get work as early experience. Don't wait for the final year. You need to understand that, yes, you may get paid low money now, but all that experience accumulates to something bigger. Yeah. So there are a lot of things you may not learn because there's only so much the university can give you. But you need to go, and if you can you can go and work after work, or even don't get paid also, you go and just get involved to understand how the factory works, how the workshop works, what are the materials, the tools. And if you can get that, even if you don't get paid, never mind, at least you can put in your CV and the person can endorse it. That's one. Go out and test new things. I think you all should be now familiar what is chat GPT. If you don't, I think you need to go and start, artificial intelligence, robotics, because that's the next new thing. You are now learning it in college, but when you are an engineer in 2 years or 3 years from now, you're going to need that knowledge because that's going to be important. Yeah. And of course, a degree from UOW, it is very good. It will open up doors. But what will get you ahead of the competition? Try to take some certificates while you're in university, because when you start working, you don't have time, right? Or even your first year as a working, you don't have time to do a lot of things. So if you can take certificates, those especially do not require any experience, but they just want you to sit the exam and all that. You can do it early, and then that will be another added value to your application out to other areas. So like ITIL or service desk or anything like that. You just sit and get it. I think you have so many online now. You don't need to go to class. You just pay a minimal. Just invest some money and get. Again, you invest a little bit here. In the future, you will earn a lot. Yeah. Main thing, get a good mentor. Dr. Sivajoti was mine, and he guided me and my brother and my colleagues and my friends. So I hope you all find somebody like that. I see, Ricky is a good one from IEM. So after this, I hope you all join IEM and be more active. Yeah. Okay. Now, what do I see? I mean, why when I hire a person, what do I look for? I think the main one I always look for is you guys, if you can change, because now things are moving very fast. My time we had a 56K modem, floppy A. Now we don't even have floppy A. Find a computer with it, I think you won't find. So things are changing. And I look at people who are able to go into systems. They're able to take data and they're able to come up with some sort of options or solution. So that's when you want to address a problem, you don't simply think like that, You have data that will help your calculation and allow you to solve a problem. And again, I would stress, whatever you know, how much you learn and all that, try to make sure you can apply it as much as possible everywhere. Now, the other thing is when I hire a person, I know I usually don't hire the smartest person. I find the person who's very humble. They're willing to learn and grow, but at the same time, they're able to gel with all the people in the office. So it's very important. And another one is they take the initiative to go and try to solve the problem, or they try to make things better. So that's the type of person I always try to hire. And whenever the guys that I want to hire, they are not afraid of issues or problems, because why? They will take everything and then they will turn it into options to move forward or an opportunity. So they're not shy away from problems. So this is what I look for in the interviews that I do lah. All right. So how do you, you when you want to attend interviews, what you need to do is before you go for the interview, you just look at the position and then you type in what position. So, like for example, electrical engineer competency. So it will tell you what type of knowledge you need to have, what type of experience. So you can see here. This is something that I took on the Google. So it shows all the different competency you need to build. So I think for an engineer designing, you're looking at automation, mechanical, and of course, most of it, if you're in manufacturing, like maintenance, repair. So these are a few key things you can look. So maybe once the presentation is done, you can get a slide. I mean, this is just think. So look at that, and then that will tell you what to prepare for those interviews and whether you are suitable for the job. So this will help you greatly as you go into interviews or applying for the jobs. Yeah. So, like I said, all that you may be the best person for the job, but end of the day, are you the best person for the organization? This is very important because a lot of people join company. I think a lot of time don't get confirmed or they don't move forward in their careers because they don't get along with their coworkers. I mean, end of the day, you getting a job is good for you and you to grow your career. But the main thing is, are you able to work as part of a team, right? So another thing is how do you? So you need to show in the interviews, how you're going to build relationship with your colleagues. So you need to show that, hey, I'm not here just for the job. I'm here to add value to the company. So try to get more about the interviewers that are interviewing. What maybe aside from work, what type of food they like to eat. From which area in Malaysia they come from. And another thing is like don't always ask questions. Maybe when you go to interviews and all, try to do research as much as possible. Who is talking to you and what is the company about? And you need to build trust. Again, this trust, I know sometimes during interview, okay, everybody, this guy is good, but after the interview, you're a totally different person. So again, just remember to be genuine and honest. Don't try to be somebody you're not, okay? And a lot of people do that in the interview, but then after the interview, it doesn't work. So we also, when we interview, we know, okay, this person can be trusted or not. Yeah. And then, of course, you need to show initiative on how you're going to help others within the organization. So maybe you can show like, hey, I'm good in engineering, but I have this ability to create slides. I have got the ability to do graphic design. Maybe I can help you guys. It's not related to work, but maybe I can help you on that. Yep. So just take a few minutes here to end my presentation here today. As you go, before you go to the work, remember life is hard. I mean, now it's good. Maybe now you think it's hard attending exam. Life is going to get harder. So when you know things are going to get harder, it should be easier because you already know it's hard, right? So you just prepare for all that things, and then you'll be able to overcome it. So like Bruce Lee say, when you know that someone punch you and you know it's going to be very pain. So when they punch you, it doesn't pain that much, right? So maybe you can check out Bruce Lee on that. Life is not fair. That doesn't mean you have to cheat and lie like everybody else. If you do that, then you'll end up in Hotel Kajang. Penjara Kajang. So better don't do all that. If it's not fair, means you need to plan ahead. You need to do a lot of work to make sure that things are going towards your way, right? And do it in the right way. Don't be a criminal. Another thing is in when you go to work. I mean, now itself, people are going to tell you cannot, right? So just find options. I mean, the word cannot, if you just focus on NOT, nothing will happen. But if you focus on the CAN, anything can happen, but you must push towards it. But at the same time, don't push too much. Then people think, oh, this fella is a bully, or they might think wrong about you. So try to move forward, but at the same time, try to move it in the right way and be mindful. Another one is, don't think you're alone. You're not Rambo, okay? You're not all the superhero, Marvel heroes, okay? Even now, Marvel needs a team. That's why they have Avengers, they have the Justice League. They don't have a solo guy, nobody wants to watch a solo movie nowadays, right? So even football, you don't see one guy go playing the whole World Cup, right? You got a whole team to support the guy. So you need to be a team player. Those days, maybe yes, it works, but now it doesn't. All right. And another thing is some people say, this guy is so lucky, see, he's getting this job, he's got a car and all that. There's nothing about luck. Person getting that luck is going out and making your own luck. So I think it's working hard, looking at things at different perspective and try to do things parallelly. And you know what? You can be lucky too. So anyway, I am wishing you all the best. Again, you're in good hands with IEM and UOW. And I hope that you all can get more opportunities and be successful in your careers and interviews. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Victor, for such valuable information on resume writing, the hiring process, and also some of the things you've learned since graduating. It's great to hear it from someone who plays such a key role in the hiring process. And I'm sure it's given us all a clearer understanding of what the industry demands from fresh graduate engineers. Aaron, I'd like to pose this question to you.
Sure.
You graduated with a Master's of Science degree in electrical engineering, and eventually you ventured into talent acquisition, human resource. It seems to be something that has worked out quite well for you. However, in your opinion, how far off a tangent can or should one look into when venturing outside of the field they major in?
If you're venturing very far out, you need to know that is it what you're passionate about or this is what you're interested about. So it is not something that if you're not passionate, then you start taking on it, you might regret it. So and again, it is what you really want to do. So again, when I was doing engineering, I was thought, I'm going to start engineering, then I move to project management and work on projects. But then I realized, you know what, I don't need engineering to do that. Maybe I can do in other areas. And I had an interest. But if you're going to move from engineering, of course, you move engineering to become a doctor, that's going to be a tough challenge, right? Because you have to resit all the examinations. So are you willing to put that time and effort or not, right? But if you're going to say, I'm going to be engineering, I'm going to be a marketing, yeah, you got people from engineering who are marketeers, you got people engineering who are even medical devices sales. So you have a lot there. And there are cases where engineers are doctors, but the effort and time you're going to take to do that switch, right? So for me, yes, I had that opportunity because while studying, I was also doing other things in parallel to equip myself with the knowledge. And the field that I am is more about you have to read a lot, understand about the HR regulations. So it's possible, but the more far out you go, do you have the interest and passion? If not, don't think about it. You're wasting a lot of the time.
Thank you, Evan. Really appreciate you coming back to KDU. And this brings us to our next speaker, Mr. Kenneth Low, who is also a KDU alumnus, who graduated in 2020 with a degree in mechanical engineering. He is currently an engineering sales consultant at IGL Coatings. And prior to this, he served as the project engineer at VME Material Handling. When he was at KDU, he was the president of the Engineering Society, and he'll be here to share some of his experiences transitioning to the industrial world from the academic world. So Kenneth, maybe you could share a little bit about your journey.
Okay, hi, thank you, Darren. Okay, first, before I do a bit of my introduction, so I would like to do thanks to UOW and also IEM, and thanks to IR Ricky Liu and also Mr. Aaron. The sharing is really good. I've really seen some mistake I made from there. All right, so I will do some self-introductions. Okay, you can call me Kenneth. I used to graduate in UOW, and I can tell you I'm not a very good student in UOW. Okay, this is my introductions. So this is very brief. You know me more about next questions. Okay. Hi, Darren.
So, were there any challenges that you faced after graduating in terms of employment?
Okay. This is a very tough question. So, okay, I graduated in 2020, as everybody knows, is COVID-19. It's COVID. So all the organizations try to cut down their costs. So they are not trying to hire anyone else. At first, I'll make it, I think it's tough because it's some decisions. Since everybody is trying to cut down the costs, everybody try to hire, to kick out people, not try to hire anyone. So I have to try to make decisions. Do I really want to go in engineering? Or should I start my own business? My own business. All right. From there, yes, I did start my own business. I did so because nobody really want to hire me. No, say no one to hire me. Yeah, the pay is too low for me. It's like really below wage. So from there, I think the challenge is there because I need to survive. So I really talked to someone else, and then yes, I started my business and be my own boss at the first year during COVID. All right.
Are there any other skills that you've learned? Other skills that you've learned that are highly valued by employees and employers? I mean?
Okay, this is very. I'll let you explain this more. Okay, I'll come up with two things that's very important for all the people out there that what I have learned during my work journey. The first thing will be simplify your language. What I will say is that because not everyone is engineers, not everyone is a doctors, or not everyone is, say, professionals. So when you try to talk too much in technical terms, they don't understand you, they will think you are cringe. So you actually lost communication from there. And actually, a lot of issue that happens in engineering field, which I be a project engineer before. So a lot of issue happens because your communication is not reached to their head and they don't really processing it. And this is how it happens. So we have to simplify our language. The second, also emotional intelligence. You know, right? Youngers like us, we usually having a lot of egos. We think, oh, we are graduate from universities. We are actually high values, but actually it doesn't work. It doesn't happen that way. So in engineering firm, it's very tough. A lot of people will try to teach you. Even though there's a lot of issue happen, come to you. Maybe you do projects. Like me, I had 6 to 7 projects at once during in crane industry. So no, happens will come, and you feel frustrated. You feel really bad. So you try to talk. You tends to scold someone else. You tends to lose control, and from there, there's more issue coming out. So emotional intelligence is very important, and if you don't use it well, you can make someone not respecting you to respect you, and also to make someone else to do their job better. So better communications. All back to communication because we are in the center. We try to distribute our ideas. Engineers are innovative. We are trying to come up with ideas, solution. But the thing is, we need to give out our message to someone else to reach them. So make it simple and with a good emotions.
All right. So the next question I'd like to ask you, in your opinion, what can we do as students to maximize our chances of success in the industry?
Okay, this is what I did also. Okay, from my experience, I would say to maximize your chance for success is to try as much thing as possible. It doesn't matter what you have tried. Okay, for me during my school time, during secondary school, I went to organization like those kind of non-profit government NGO organization to do some things. So I do organizations, I do meeting new people. From there, I learned about technical skills and event planning. And after that, I get into uni. I got a chance to do sales as my part time. So I go into sales. I really go to sales during my studies. So I try to do studies. From there, because I'm doing sales, right, I need to understand the products. From there, I'm doing healthcare products. So yes, from there I learn something else. Then I go into sports. From sport, I learn about leadership also. Then I go into some events such as like a lot of events such as like music industry. because I love music. So I go try out music. It relaxes my mind. Also come up with a lot of theories to make me actually have a better view of what I'm supposed to do to my career. Not only what we study in books and also in our school. It's give you more varieties that what I can do in environments. And definitely also try to study about fashions, how to dress. If you dress well, you get to talk to more people. People more tend to willing to share more time with you. Then you can learn a lot of things from there. This is, I think, the first thing. Invest yourself to make you look good and make you feel better, so you got more chance.
Also, from your experience, how do you look at the things like grades, your CGPA? I think Mr. Aaron talked about this earlier. So, what is the importance of grades and academic performance in terms of getting a job?
Okay, so as I say, very beginning, I will introduce myself as I'm not a very good student. Meaning that not to say I am bad students, just my result is not as good as some of them. Like my friends, they get 3.5 above. Mine only 3.6 to 3.8. It's considered quite low, quite average. Yes, when I came out the time, I tried to interview a lot of companies. I think I sent more than 30 CVs during the CVs, and after 1 month only, I get my first interview. And it really play a big role, the grades, for it's like a ticket for every single one to get a job. It's not say for long term, it doesn't say very important, but for the short term, people actually looking at grades. They never see your face, they never know you, but they only can see your CV. So from the CV there, academic grades is very important to secure the first jobs. I would say that. Okay, I'll give you some examples. These two of my friends. One of my friends is who study in UM. Then he has a very good grades, but it's very hard for him to secure his job. Yes, he's having a good grade, but it's very hard to secure a job. Yeah, even though he gets his job, it won't last that long. So grade is important, but not for long term, for very short terms. Then the second one is another friend. He's graduated from UOW also, named Mr. Nasmo. He's now is an engineer, a warranty engineer in GE Power. What he did is, he's not local, he is actually overseas foreigners. What he did is, he really put himself down to work in GE as an intern for a year with a very low pay. Because we usually don't have very good grades, right? So it's very hard to get into a very big companies like such as GE. So he really need down to get the offer GE about internships. I do it for 1 year for you, very low grades, very low pay. But the thing is, after a year, his pay is higher than most of us. He tried to secure his jobs, try to I will say this thing, try to put himself down to learn from others first before we think what we can get from the organization. To think what we can give before we think what we can get. This is how he secures his job. As this is also how I get my first business. Okay, from this I said grade is very it's not important. Okay, I'll say how I got get my first job. I'll tell you right just now. I say sorry, I've been nervous. It's very hard for me to get my first job, first interview. That's why I go into my business. How I get my business is, okay, I will offer the business owner, I will work for you for 3 months without getting any pay. And I work for them. I learned all the things. I really learned all the stuff, because I go into agriculture. So I sell fertilizer, I sell all the aquatic products. I really need now to learn everything I can learn. After 3 months, my company is started. So I run my business and I generate about the first year during MCO 2.0 and 3.0, I still generate about 180K for the sales, my revenue. But from there, I decided to jump out from the business and I go back to engineering firms. From the CV, I got a new title there. I have entrepreneurs and I learned a lot of skill from there, and I got more job opportunities. For job opportunity, VME hit me up. So yes, I work in the credit industry. They offered me a sales engineer, but I really want to go into project. So I go into projects, I do a lot of things, I handle multiple projects. From there, my CV got stronger. Not okay. Talk about grades. Now grades is not really important, but about experience right now. Okay, it become more and more. I would say more colors into CVs. By the time I beautified my CV and I got a lot of job offer calling from job hunters, more than 10 calls. From someone who have very low grades, don't have any job offer, I did it myself to just to give what value I can give them. That the returns is very high for me to get a job from job hunter, and the job hunter offered me a lot of job, like more than 10, and yeah, now I have choice to find a good boss that I want to work with. So grades is very important for the openness, but what your attitude is more important than that.
Yes, I totally agree with that. It's
Okay.
all about your attitude towards problem solving and showing that you are competent in all of these different areas.
Yes.
And the last question I have for you is, what have you learned about the importance of getting along with your co-workers? Do you spend a lot of time with them?
Yes, I would say yes. Even today, I still spending my time with my ex-partner, with my first business, and also I still spending my time with my ex-company, my ex-colleague. It's very important. Even my new colleague, I spend a lot of time with them. Why I need to do spending time with them is you are not alone by yourself because we are in engineering. Maybe you are very professional in mechanical. You're very good in calculus to do calculation, but you might not very good in design. And also you might not very good in making sales. So we have to work as a team to spend time with them, to build the bondings with them. From there, you will get a lot of information and you'll make your job easier. Like you're just spending 50% of your work and you get 100% of your results. It's more important than just working hard. But it's a relationship things. What we engineers do to try to help the world. We are trying to help human, actually, not trying to just help the world, right? So human, we need to have bondings. We need to talk to them. It's only we come up with ideas, come up with innovations. How can we solve all the issue? Because all problem is usually come out from it's spoken out from humans. They figure it out, so we have to solve it. We need to know them first, talk to them. Sometimes we have to spend some money, small treats to make friends together with. From here, yeah, you can get a lot of information. You will make your life easier, and you'll be really happy to work in the company. This is also the way for you to sustain in the company. I would say that so time management is very important. Yeah.
Well, Kenneth, thank you very much for sharing with us what you've learned. It's great to have you back at UOW. Really appreciate you joining us. It's especially important to hear it from someone who has just recently graduated to give us a more precise perspective of the current industrial climate. Moving on, we have with us professional engineer and technologist, Ms. Zainul Sharmila binti Shamsuddin. She is a lecturer and program leader of the Mechanical Engineering Department at UOW Malaysia. She is a registered professional engineer in the mechanical discipline with the Board of Engineers, having over 10 years of experience in academic institutions, teaching undergraduate students. She is a registered professional technologist with Malaysian Board of Technologies, otherwise known as MBOT. She is the former senior engineer in Panasonic Appliances Air Conditioning Malaysia, with more than 13 years of experience in manufacturing as well as in operations management. Engineer Zainul also holds the position as IEM committee member of Engineering Education Technical Division for 3 terms. She obtained her bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from University of Technology Malaysia and a master's degree in engineering management from University of Technology Malaya, or UITM. Without further delay, I'd like to invite Engineer Zainul to share her thoughts on how universities are preparing students for employment.
Okay, thank you, Dhiren. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all of you. Now, I would like to bring your attention on how universities prepare the students, especially engineering students, for employment. Okay, so this is actually to give you, because I see most of the students here are from the 4th year students, so at least you can can maximize your learning experience in university. So I just want to bring you to this attention. So let us begin by understanding the student learning behavior. So when we talk about students' learning behavior, it was changed a lot this past few years. So as a lecturer, what I can see that students are getting more smarter and more curious about things, especially engineering students. So they don't just accept what are taught in class. Okay, they want to know more. For example, let's say when we teach them a basic derivation formulas, mathematic formulas, they want to know more how that this formula actually relate to the actual engineering application. So due to this, scholars have summarized the learning behavior by introducing these 5 emerging trends. This is for the 21st century engineering education. Number 1, students are getting more active. Active meaning that actively engage in the course module through their like project-based learning or through discussions, problem solving, case study, that kind of things. And then number 2, integrate the concept they learn in mathematical and also in mathematics and science into a real world application. Number 3 is close interaction with industry by having industrial involvement in some of their class projects. Number 4, broad use of IT in learning activities. And number 5 is engaging with external professionals to give talk on specific topics in the module. In UOW Malaysia, these are some of the approach that we use in our modules for the students to prepare the students. Okay, so why this is all important? Okay, these are the learning outcomes, okay, that are important for engineering student. So most engineering students has a good technical skills. Okay, this one we have no doubt about it because they learn engineering from year 1 to year 4. Okay, so they are very good in their technical knowledge. Okay, so but having only technical knowledge is not enough for them to be to get job. Okay, to get job during the interview. I think this is already stressed out by Aaron and also by Ricky just now, and also Kenneth already shared all his experience. Okay, on the soft skill, which I will talk about it later. Okay, so alongside with these cognitive and creative skills, students also need to have these social skills and also personal skills. Okay, so these 2 social skills and personal skills is what we know as the soft skills. So why these soft skills are important? Okay, these skills is actually helping the engineers, engineers to maintain a good interpersonal relationship with their colleagues, superior, and also their clients. Also, and then this also is actually because engineers, you need to interact with people. Okay, you need to interact with suppliers, you need to interact, do a collaboration. So this type of things, you need a very good soft skills, especially the communication skills. Okay, and then it also defines the overall performance of the engineer, okay, or the employee, whether he fit in his or her job. So there are some soft skills that engineers are needed, okay, to maximize their career success. So here I list down some of the soft skills, okay. You know, engineers, of course, you need to have a verbal and non-verbal communication. So when we talk about verbal communication, like presentations, okay, or when you talk to people, okay, non-verbal communication, when you write emails, okay, you must make sure that people understand, okay, when you communicate with them. And then creativity and innovation, I think this one cannot part from the engineers. Creativity, innovation, very, very important. Collaboration, okay, time management, okay, just now I think Kenneth talked about time management, research and analytical skills, problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork and people skills, willingness to learn, and also adaptability. So these are some, I highlighted some of the important skills, but I think there are many more soft skills that you can learn. Not only in the universities also you will learn this, but when you go out to work, actually you will learn more on all these soft skills. through your experience. So now let us see what experts says about these soft skills. I think some of it already highlighted in the previous presentations. Okay, but this survey actually was done in some of the biggest engineering firm in US. Okay, so when we look at it, okay, I just want to bring your attention. You can see I highlighted few of the words like communication, proactive, okay, take challenge, okay, not only waiting for someone to assign something to you, okay, and then here also highlighted here, younger generation, they are missing of basic communication skills, even interpersonal skills. All right, so these are the things actually expert says. All right, again, communication, okay, communicate through meetings, phone calls, presentations. All right, and one more thing important is how you build your profile, okay, in the website. For example, like LinkedIn profile, okay, how you act in your social media like Instagram, okay. These are all some the outside, okay, employers are looking at all this, okay, because they want to see how you interact with people. Okay, beside that, they also want to see how you interact with people and also how you listen. Okay, so all these are the important skills that you need, okay, to be in the industry, the engineering industry. Okay, in Malaysia, okay, the soft skills are introduced in engineering education through standards set by the Engineering Accreditation Council. Okay, accreditation provides the assurance to Board of Engineers Malaysia, okay, BEM, that engineering graduates have necessary skill and competencies. Okay, so in engineering education, we really we really take all these standards or requirement into our module, okay, so that we can produce the graduates with specific or the important skills that needed in the engineering industry. Okay, so if you see, these are the 12 program outcomes. I think very familiar for engineering students. All right, so out of these 12 program outcomes, you can see the first five is on the technical skills, but majority, another 7 is on the soft skills. All right. So besides the soft skills, engineers are also need to develop their creativity and innovation thinking skills. So I want to bring you, okay, how this critical thinking are put into our engineering courses and how we structured our courses. Okay, critical thinking was introduced through this design-centric curriculum. In UOW Malaysia, we have this design-centric curriculum whereby we integrate the design in most of our core modules. Okay, this design, we give students design assignment. That means they need to, this assignment is, they need to solve the problem based on the actual problems, okay, in actual problems in engineering that happen in the world. And then students also are given problem-based learning, okay, and then students also given freedom to develop their own experiment through open-ended laboratory. Okay, students also exposed to this integrated design project or capstone project, okay, whereby they work, okay, communicate and also work in a teamwork to come up with the project solution to solve a real world engineering problems. And students also are encouraged to join internal and external competition to build their self-confidence. Besides that, okay, this is also, we also have involvement of the external parties, okay, when we structure our programs. So the first is the Industrial Advisory Panel. Okay, the meeting was conducted once a year, okay, between the university and also the panels. Okay, there will be 3 to 4 panels normally sitting in the meeting. So what we will discuss is we will seek we will seek their experts' comments and also ideas in our curriculum. Okay, so we will ask them whether when we design the curriculum for our student, is it what is need in the industry? Okay, and how we want to make sure that we are not up to date. Okay, that means we are always up to date in our syllabus. All right, and also we have one more. Okay, the second is the external advisor. So this person is usually an experienced professor who well versed in engineering field. Okay, so the external advisor will evaluate the overall assessment of the program. So this evaluation normally done every 2 years. So from these two experts, external experts, okay, we get the input, and then this is how we actually design the engineering program. Okay, I think that's all from me. I hope you get some ideas, especially our students. Okay, try to maximize your learning experience in university. All right, so that you have both these hard skills, I mean the technical skills and also the soft skills. So when you have these two skills, okay, and when you go to industry, at least you can minimize your, the mistakes that you might do in the industry. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Zainul, for your thoughts and opinions on the current academic trends and also the current education culture for producing graduates that are fully equipped with the necessary skills to meet the industrial needs. As a student myself, and speaking on behalf of most students, I feel like we all generally want to perform well and find some sort of validation, primarily from our lecturers, that we're on the path to success, regardless of how many challenges we face as students in fulfilling the high demands and workloads of our courses. Thank you to all the speakers for your presentations. I'd like to open the floor now to a short Q&A session from the audience. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them up in the chat. And I'll direct your questions to our speakers. So Yogita has asked, what advice would you give to engineering students having doubts about continuing on in the engineering industry after graduating? So Ms. Simon, would you like to answer that?
Yes. Okay. When we talk about doubt, right? Okay. Actually, when student, right, when you enroll into this engineering program, okay, when you enroll into any program, you must have the interest and also the passion, okay, to carry, to study, because that's how actually it motivate you to study in this program. Okay, so some students, okay, when they have this motivation, okay, from beginning, when they first join, enroll into the program until the 4th year, okay, when they graduated, and then they already set their mind they want to become an engineer. Okay, but I also have experience that I would like to share. I have students who first they have interest, maybe their interest is not really engineering. Okay, for example, like I have students who really like to repair car. Okay, repair car is a maintain. He like to do a mechanics job, right? So mechanics. So he enrolled into mechanical engineering. So mechanics and mechanical engineering is actually two different things. All right. One is more on hands-on. Another one is more on, you need to study all this struggle with all these formulas and everything, right? So when along the way the student study, right, then until he graduate, he had this doubt will come out because he feel that this is not what he want to be. He want to be something else. He like to do something like, like repair, know about car, everything about car. But now he study about thermodynamic, he study fluid mechanics. So this is not what he wants. So that's why students have doubt. Okay, and that's why also some students they change their course after they graduate. All right, unless if your first intention when you join the program, yes, you want to become a mechanical engineer, or electrical engineer, or civil engineer. So you are trying to find your way, your path to become that, to excel in that field. So once you graduate, then you know that okay, I want to go into consultant field, or I want to go into manufacturing, or I want to go into oil and gas. You already set your mind. Okay, so these are the things. So students, you need to ask yourself, when you enroll into this program, are you really have the passion to study this program?
Thank you, Miss. Firstly, asked how do engineering companies foster an environment of creativity and innovation to develop new solutions and technologies? Perhaps Engineer Ricky Liu would like to weigh in on this. If he is still here. Or perhaps Ms. Zainab, would you like to talk a little bit about this also?
What's again, Dhiren, the question?
How do engineering companies foster an environment of creativity and innovation to develop new solutions and technologies?
Okay.
Perhaps from your experience in Panasonic?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I think quite tough. So when we talk about this creativity, innovation, right? It depends on which industry we enter. Okay, for example, let's say like last time when I worked in Panasonic, right? It depends on what product they are producing. Because you see, when you enter a company or a organization, actually you become like a, when you first enter, you become like a, your knowledge on that product. Okay, maybe your technical knowledge is very high. Maybe you get like 3.8 and above your CGPA, you are a first class student. But when you enter an organization, all right, so the product or the machines that they have, that is a new knowledge for you. So when you want to have this, creativity or your innovation, technical, let's say you work in the R&D department, okay, you need to learn first, okay, learn meaning that you need to study back, okay, their product, okay, from the scratch, okay, until you understand their process, you understand their product. In Panasonic, okay, if I remember last time when we first joined Panasonic in R&D department, we the engineers, we are sent to the manufacturing, the production line for us to understand the process first. So to understand the process, we become like an operator, we do the job like an operator because we want to understand the product first. Then only we can design the product. Then only we can have ideas how to design the product. Okay, so these things like creativity, innovation, yeah, you learn a lot. Okay, even in the universities also you are using this innovation in design. Okay, but when you go to the industry again, you need to start again from scratch to understand their process, their innovation. Then only you can come up with ideas, give ideas. Okay, and then learn about their technologies and everything.
So basically, what you're saying is that these companies they have a certain standard and a standard operating procedure, and so when we come in as engineers, we have to, before we can come up with creative solutions, we have to try to understand the workplace, the culture, and sort of think about the fundamental needs of the company before trying to change it and to come up with creative new solutions. All right.
Yes.
And next question from Wong Zian. Would you say that most companies in Malaysia today have a culture that openly encourages the expression of ideas and thoughts from its younger employees? Perhaps Kenneth could answer this. Do you feel that your company openly encourages expression of ideas and thoughts?
Yes, definitely yes. For my ex-company, no, but for this company, yes. Actually, it's like he will adapt more youngest ideas, like what you think is actually good for our organization, good for the world. Yeah, just go for it. This is my company. That's why I say look for a good boss. A good boss will really bring you forward, not drag you down and let you stop there.
So you're not afraid to express your ideas and to risk the to potentially risk sounding stupid in front of your boss.
Okay, sorry again. Okay, could I hear you again?
So you're not afraid of expressing your ideas openly.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I'm never afraid to share my idea because I would say that all the organization, all the leaders in the company, they wanted new blood. We as a new blood, to give them idea what we thinking, what can we help to move the company forwards.
All right, thank you for that. Now, the next question from Alif Haikal. What are the biases we should consider when picking a company when they're in the same industry? I'm not exactly sure what that means. The same industry, perhaps you could elaborate more on that, on what exactly you mean by that. Another question from Teshwani. In Malaysia, there is a lack of female engineers. Is there any particular reasons for this? And is IEM doing anything to encourage more women to join the field? Miss, is there any particular reason for this?
Okay. I think most of the females, they like to go for the, courses that not really can, dirty their hands, right? Not many women, okay, girls like this type of course, unless those are a bit tough, okay, they like to, sometimes when, engineers normally they have a trait, if let's say, that a bulb, okay, a problem in their house, okay, they really go and change the bulb by themselves. They don't expect their brother or their father to change the bulb for them. So this type of attributes, not many ladies have this type of attributes, right? So that's why a lot of ladies, they not actually join this field. But in IEM, as I know, we also have a woman engineer, okay, woman engineer under IEM technical division. So under this woman engineer, actually they encourage, okay, they show like how women when they become an engineer, because you see sometimes in the industry, right, there is a big bias between male and female engineers. I think there's also one talk being done previously. A woman engineer, when they talk, they also said there are a bit of bias because when you go to the construction, let's say you go to the site, a woman engineer, you cannot go and climb, stairs and all these things. They don't actually allow you to go and climb the tall buildings and all these things. So that is why a lot of women sometimes they don't feel that this actually suits them. Okay, and also because I also came from the Japanese industry. In Japanese industry also they don't really look. They have some bias between women and also male engineers. All right, they don't really give a lot of opportunities for women engineer. So this is also sometimes maybe a reason why women are not enrolling into this program. Okay, but I think as for the IEM, yes, okay, we encourage, we have this technical division, especially for women. In that technical division, all the members are women. And they come up with a lot of ideas. Okay, they wrote a lot of things about this women in engineering field.
All right, thank you, everyone. I think we can wrap it up here. I think it has been a productive and insightful and knowledge-packed discussion. It can be challenging for students and fresh graduates to know what they need to do in order to be successful at things like learning a job and going down a career path that is fulfilling. With this, I'm honored to have been able to organize a discussion with our esteemed panelists who were able, through their experience, to shed light on the various factors for which students like myself would have not even considered as things to prepare for when transitioning from the academic world to the industrial world. I can't say how much I appreciate all the speakers and all those in the audience for joining and participating in this event. Before we dismiss, can everyone just turn on their camera for a quick photo session? give everyone a second to turn on their cameras. Oh, sorry, I think I disabled the turn on their video feature. My bad. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating, and have a great day ahead. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Ms. Simon. Thank you, Engineer Ricky Liu.